feasibly. You can't buy the land, develop the land, put in the sewers, put in all the stormwater, put in everything you have to put in to make it work feasibly. So density allows us to build a nice community. And that's what we've got. We've got a community of entering. It's a one-way street. It's a private drive. That would be an entrance off of Bellwood going in. It's a one-way street in and back. We've yet to determine if we're going to gate it or not. It is a private road. We don't believe we'll gate it. But the street right now is 59 townhomes. So it's not 67, it's 59. We started out looking at more density and talking to the city and going through them. Less, all we could get, less we tried. So working out dollars and cents and density, we came back to a 59 unit subdivision. The units all have, I'm gonna hit and miss some stuff, so help me when I mess up. Units all have 3 parking spaces each. We have 30 other parking spaces designed in the community. So one thing with townhomes and with density is parking. It's tough to do. We're required to have two parking places per unit. We have 3, and then we have guest parking as well. So the density fits in this area. For us, it makes sense in this area. For the city's master plan, it makes sense in this area because of commercial on one side, residential on the other side. We have commercial on the lower side down here, the moving companies, and residential back here. These 5 houses are our neighbors on the back, residential on this side, and then mostly commercial here. I think there's still a duplex that's residential there. I'm not 100% on that. But most of those are all commercial as well. So density works real well with walkability, with well, property value. Yes, property values. Okay. Property values here. We'll sell these units around $600,000 each. So what that does to the entire area is raise property values. A rising tide raises all ships. That saying to me makes a subdivision like this work. It does bring property values up all the way through. It brings a different vibe to what I would call right now, as far as Bellwood, a tired road. It's been there a long time. It's got a huge hill in it. It's got very narrow, very different. We would have down Bellwood, a sidewalk all the way down, a brick wall between us and the road, backyards. Brick wall. You can see it there. But that wall, and then that wall, that wall. So that wall comes all the way around, all the way down Bellwood, sidewalk on the outside of it. They're taking that wall somewhere on the other end. Still working with the city on what to do with the knot in the hill. As private people, we can't exactly do the work to take in easements from the other side and do the work to get rid of that knot, but the city can. So our sidewalk, when you got all the way down,
Saying not bad.
Is that the end? Yeah. The knot. Okay, yeah, right here. So when you got all the way down to that spot on Bellwood, our sidewalk would be about 6 feet lower than the road because of the plane we're on. We want to bring the road down to that, get rid of the blind hill there. And that's something we've got to work with the city with, because we've got to work with the people across the street as well to get access to them. So that determined. But planning on it happening. That road's got to widen some, and Autumn Lane's got to widen some in those areas. So the other things, happy to listen for a little bit if anybody wants to start. Yes, sir.
So you got 59 souls, right, minimum.
That's right.
That's 59 vehicles, multiply that by 118. Now, these vehicles, where are they gonna go?
180, there's 3 vehicles they're factoring in 3 vehicles for every unit, 180 vehicles.
Yeah, we're leaving parking for 3.
So to follow up with this question about what we're going to do with this, one of the challenges, I've been here in Cahaba Heights for about 9 years, and I've been in this state for 15. And I've noticed that the city seems to spend most of its time, money, and energy and effort on the area between Rocky Ridge and 31. Everywhere else is a second thought, right? Cahaba Heights has seen growth. We're not seeing investment in infrastructure. We've got roads that are narrow. Many of the streets here in Cahaba Heights don't even meet the minimum standard for Alabama Department of Transportation.
That's right. 22.
So I'll be honest with you, when I heard this was going on, I'm opposed to it. I'm opposed to the 11 that they're talking about putting over here off the Cahaba Heights Road. Because the city has not kept up with building the infrastructure to match the growth. I don't really care what their master plan is, because the reality is they're not executing on it very well. So I'm interested, to hear what you're talking about building up over here and removing this blind hill and all that. That's great, wonderful for you. What about the surrounding area? Crosshaven can't handle the traffic that's on it now. Cahaba Heights Road can't handle the traffic that's on it now. From mid-afternoon past rush hour, traffic is backed up from Martin's all the way to 280, right? So how do you think that this development is going to benefit us? $600,000 a unit, that's cool, man. That's great for you. I don't know how that's, if you sell each one of those at that price point, I don't know that that's really going to affect everybody else's property value, because then you have to worry about comps. And are there comps going to be there? So based on what I'm interested in hearing more, but based on what you've said so far, no, I'm opposed to this. I think that it is not beneficial to the people and the residents of Cahaba Heights.
And I think there's a lot of that sitting in the room, and that's why we're here to discuss it and hear your problems. Let me answer though real quick. I did want to hit traffic. We have done a traffic study. You want to talk traffic?
Yeah, so we've done a traffic study with Sane Engineering. They did it. When did they do it? September 17th. They did it on 67 townhomes, so we're down to 59. So that's one benefit. But did it during peak rush hour, said there's very little to any impact on traffic at all, mainly because there's 5 entry and exit points here. So obviously all these people leave at different times, come in at different times, and the main thing they were talking about was all these 5 ways to get to this area and leave this area. So there's 5 different entry and exit points, and obviously timing, and we've gotten the traffic study done, and that's what they told us.
Yours developed it. You're not in and out of the rest of the area around.
So here's where we are. Here's 1, here's 2, here's 3.
There's just one entrance and one exit.
One entrance and exit to the community. Yes, sir.
When you leave ours and go right or left, you hit a lot of it.
So you can hit every
and
area
that's
you
where
need to.
I come in. I live on Bellwood. I've lived there for a decade. We just purchased a home, coincidentally enough, on the corner of Autumn Lane and Bellwood. I have small children. My neighbors have small children. Bellwood and Autumn Lane are 100% cut-through roads. They are a main cut-through road from Green Valley, from Cahaba Heights Road, and from Crosshaven. So now we're just going to dump 130 extra cars for it to be, our homes, our roads, to be used for. And that's a serious concern. And so you talk about property value. The safety of my children is more important. I know you're going to agree with me because you're trying to sell this here. It's more important than your development. It's not the right place, man. The infrastructure cannot handle it. It's just, sorry, but as he says, am opposed to it. My family's well-being, my family's safety and security is more important than anything else. As you would agree.
100%. And a cut-through road's tough. So we haven't observed it as bad in the cut through. I do agree though, it is a cut through from Green Valley back to Crosshaven. But a cut through road does generate traffic. 60 townhomes doesn't well, across the street, there's density in the subdivision across the street, and it's 30 homes. And if you did a traffic count just of those homes or just of this site, which is what they do, you don't generate traffic from 60 homes. You do generate traffic from a cut-through road. So the Crosshavens and investment in the city, the city just spent quite a bit of money on
So
Crosshaven.
these are magic commuters, they just disappear.
I seen that.
You can't say that you have 60 units, 3 vehicles per unit, they don't generate traffic.
The math doesn't matter.
That's fallacious.
It's so I don't exactly say that, but same engineering does.
You just said that.
I did say that because I have an engineer's report from a reputable
And
company
here's report
that's
talking about the
all
5
they do.
entry points into your proposed subdivision, not the area around it, not the main roads going in and out.
Agree with that. Yeah, they don't ever do
I
that.
live there. I don't care what the report says. I see it with my very own eyes.
I agree.
So the report it doesn't work. It's not real life. My experience day to day for 8+ years is real life.
Yeah.
It is a cut-through road. All of that is a cut-through road to the 3 main roads in Cahaba Heights. And as he said, we are just secondhand to Vestavia. I get it. Y'all want to make a lot of money. Vestavia wants the tax revenue at the end of the day. That's what it's about. But this is my home. This is other people in this room's home. We have families. When y'all are done, y'all are out. We deal with it.
Traffic is one factor. Then you got drainage and probably.
We'll get
you
all
got
those.
fire hazards.
But
On sewage and water, so a lot of us in that area are on septic, right? How do you plan on accommodating 7 homes through like water?
and so we're 59. All of our studies. I'm gonna try to repeat the question. You're asking about stormwater runoff?
No.
For water as well as septic.
Well, we're on sewer.
Yeah,
So.
so we're not on
So we'll be on sewer and hit a sewer and we won't have any septic and won't affect any
do you have
septic at all.
studies on that?
Sewer?
Well, on like how it would not affect it.
I think she's asking whether or not you've done any kind of environmental impact studies on installing sewer, when most of the area around it, like where she's at, is on septic.
So the sewer's already existing, it goes through this property. The sewer feeds things uphill from it and goes through this property and then down this line and hits in the valley and then goes to where? No, I'm talking about sanitary sewer. Are you talking about stormwater or sanitary?
I'm talking about stormwater.
Stormwater, yes, it's a whole different story, and we've got a lot of reports on stormwater because of Metalone, because of everything around here that has flooding issues. We don't want to contribute to that. So we've got a lot of.
I'll hit on stormwater too. I mean, we obviously going into a development of this size, stormwater is one of the main pillars that is a concern to the city, but is also more of a concern to the community around it. Our stormwater master plan right now is currently set up to detain 10% more water than what the city actually requires for this development. And so with that in mind, our stormwater system will have great resistance to not just minor storms, but the extreme storms that we're starting to see more of now. And with all of that in mind, our stormwater plan is designed not to just keep it like it is now, but to improve the land and to make this development drain as it should and control and contain stormwater as it should, but it also makes the immediate surrounding areas more controlled as well, because we are detaining 10% more than what is required for the development of this size and for this many units.
Detaining or retaining?
Detaining.
Okay. Huge difference.
Huge difference, but let me talk about that just a second more. The detaining of that water, first of all, if we just did what we were required to do, helps downstream. But doing 10% more, we're actually making the Meadowlawn Park area, that creek better. So we're actually priced out to, I don't see it, but we've got a detention pond, collects and detains water in any kind of storm, 10% more than we're producing, and releases it slowly. So it releases it after the flood's gone. That's the key to all of them today. Those ponds today by Vestavia are inspected yearly. They're kept up. There's not a maintenance problem with those ponds that's not addressed every year. Homeowners Association handles the money to keep up their ponds. So the detention pond that we'll have there will collect all of our water and then some. So it actually does improve the stormwater. Yep.
I can't keep Meadowlawn Park from flooding.
Sure, we can't either. We can help it though, and that's what we're trying to do.
They're gonna help if you put that much more water.
We're not putting more water. We're putting less water. That's,
It's gotta go somewhere.
and I agree, but it doesn't go with the peak storm. So a detention pond holds water until the storm is gone. The flood's gone. The floods that hit Meadowlawn Park are there for 2 hours and then gone, typically. And in any flood in a small creek, they raise up real quick and problematic, and then they go away. These ponds are made to release that water in the next 24 hours. So that's how you design it, and that's how you create no flooding issue. The creek still flows, the water still flows. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, you said you were gonna add a sidewalk down Bellwood. Are you also gonna add a sidewalk going all the way down Autumn until it connects to like where Colin Coffee is right there, like on Green Valley?
All we do is our property. So it will come around the front of our property and go to where I think is that what you're saying?
So Taylor, to that point, you know, the city has a master sidewalk plan that
Yeah.
shows sidewalks on Bellwood and Autumn Lane. We get surveys saying, hey, you really want these sidewalks here, and there's been no action whatsoever. And now you're about to add 100+ cars on Autumn Lane, which we all agree is not wide enough. So now we've got a more dangerous situation for people going down Autumn Lane. So if you had any discussions with the city about widening Autumn Lane and putting the sidewalks in, that we keep getting promised and don't have.
So, and I'm 100% with you on a lot of that stuff. Discussions are one thing, reality's another. So getting the actual money and getting their plan to accommodate all the sidewalks that the city wants, that everybody wants, is complicated. But it does happen. So if you're on that master plan, it does eventually start to happen. Will it happen in our lifetimes? I don't know. I really can't tell you. I don't know.
So that's a no.
But what I can tell you is an investment like this on that street will get a lot of attention from the city. So I think it'll get attention from the stores. You know, they're doing Pipeline Road. That's supposed to be happening pretty quickly.
What do you mean doing pipeline or what happened?
Redoing that road and putting sidewalks on.
Oh, okay.
Behind the
Pipeline Road is behind the shop.
restaurant.
That's right. That's right. Bellwood comes off of it.
Well, I mean, I get your plan for Bellwood, and that's great, and it needs it, and that hill, but Autumn Lane, you know, is picking up people, just, you know, cutting across here, cutting across Green Valley, going down Mudtown, walking down Mudtown, and it's a dark street. I mean, it's a dangerous street, and you're just adding to the traffic, and I think that people have got a big problem with that.
And the challenge that you just mentioned is that your development is going to get a lot of attention from the city. The issues propagate out from there in the surrounding area.
And what I'm trying to mention is,
Hold on 1 second.
okay,
What he just mentioned around Mudtown, what he mentioned around Bellwood and Meadow Lane and Autumn Lane, is very real. There are no sidewalks, nor through the hollow. You know, have you ever watched the traffic pattern when on Saturday mornings when people go to the soccer fields? There are people blowing those blowing through those stop signs. There are 2 blind hills on Cahaba. There's no sidewalk. Now, it's a cut through. Ridgely is a cut through, right? you're talking about your development getting a lot of attention. That doesn't address the problem.
But that's not what I'm talking about, is what I'm
You
telling you.
just said that.
I said that this area gets a lot more attention when you start dumping $1 million worth of ad valorem tax into the coffers of the city. That generates stuff for an area to work.
It doesn't happen realistically. Trickle down is again, is a fallacy. And that's what you're proposing. You're saying, well, my development is getting a lot of attention from the city. That was your quote.
It wasn't my quote. This area,
You're in a room full of people, and I assume that you said that.
so let me take it back then. If that's what I said, that's not what I meant. What I meant to say was, this area will get a lot of attention. The shops will get a lot of people shopping. The streets will get more attention.
We don't need
The
more.
area will get more attention.
We don't want it.
And I mean, what do we want to have? We're going to have a few
We don't
extra
need more.
pizzas ordered at Troop a week. I mean,
Patrick?
Terry, I'm walking late, maybe what's your target audience for this subject?
It's typically single females. We've done a lot of townhomes, and it's typically young professionals, usually females.
With big trucks,
So-
top diesels.
I haven't seen many of them driving diesel, but it's typically young professional females that a lot of them are nurses, doctors, work around the area. But that's our norm.
2 bedroom, 3 bedroom,
We'll do some 2 bedrooms and some 3 bedrooms, a lot of 2 bedrooms.
so could be younger families come in, could be starter families with kids. The point is, have we looked at school, what's the
Schools are good. Schools, Vestavia schools as a whole have no, you want to talk schools?
Sure.
You got to talk loud.
What is capacity growth? That's all we look at.
Say it again?
I know there's capacity for the schools to take on.
Yeah.
Have we looked at that regarding?
Yes.
I don't know if y'all know or not, but the Vestavia City Schools drive the train in a lot of situations. So we haven't actually gotten that far to get their blessing, but you don't get a rezoning without their blessing. And in terms of the math, as far as we've gotten, typically, this is a very conservative number. You get a half student per unit. So I can't do math like I used to could, but that's roughly equates to about 30 students in a 60-townhome unit. The school system, and I want to back up a little bit, we are Vestavia. And the school system, we believe, has a lot to do with our community strength as well as our property value. So it's something that's important to us. It's not something that we're just, blowing over. But the school system is typically interested in capacity of its school systems, as well as the cost revenue generation of that project. And I don't know if y'all were present at Dr. Freeman's last month's chamber, but he said every school has capacity except for a kindergarten class at Vestavia East that's exceeded everything. But everybody else has capacity. So we checked that box. In terms of revenue and costs are a little bit tricky, just because they're made up of local, state, and federal funds. But as a general rule, on a 52 mil valuation of $600,000 townhomes, that equates to $184,000 annual revenue to school systems. And depending on how you figure it, the local cost of that is typically around 40% of that, which is about $124,000 a year. So the project is exceeding its cost. What's difficult is to exactly quantify what 30 students cost. It's just they get into averages, and that kind of depends on are they special needs, all kinds of things. But we check both boxes, and at some point in time, they will. If it gets rejected by the school system, then it's not a project. And so, of all the things that we talk about, that's a given. You don't have to listen to us. That's something that the project goes through. They'll either bless it or deny it. But everything that we checked that as early as this morning about regarding Cahaba Heights capacity, and it has capacity for 30 school kids if they were all within the elementary age, which they are.
It has capacity for a lot more than 30 school kids. It has tremendous capacity right now. let me get you.
Yeah, hey, I'm Julie, I was living in Bellwood, right, actually next to the five townhomes we're building now. I'm all for people investing in my neighborhood, and that's an area, but my kids are the ones riding bikes and walking in the street from school, so we use that street all the time. It seemed like a missed opportunity to not focus on families, because it is such a wonderful school, and I love that. I think it's a beautiful place to raise kids, and I think it's kind of sad that that's not their whole audience for these townhouses. So I kind of, to me, it's paradise for the kids for me, so I kind of wish that was more of the narrative to kind of focus on that.
And in a short answer, well, I'll talk about it as long as you want, but the townhouse model doesn't work well for families. It's shared walls, it's no yards, very minimal yards, no place to play. You could build parks in it, but you would be then trying to commit it to families, and you just don't find families. Families aren't your purchasers of townhomes. When you look at what Kessler did down here on Poe, they're just not conducive. We will have some school children in these townhomes because of Vestavia schools. Vestavia's a drive. It's the school system's made the city what it is.
But it has to be a townhouse project for you to be wanting to do it. I'm saying it's not like you can go family homes, single family.
We'd love to do, family homes are what we do. That's our bread and butter and what we live on. And so we love to build family homes. We can't do it there. We can't sell it with the commercial across the street. We can't sell it, we can't put in enough units to actually buy the property. So to the development of the property and the sewer and everything else, there's just not enough. And I know the room as a whole assumes that developers are rich and don't care about the community and want to check that box and get rid of that thing and move on and drive a big truck and whatever else. That's not what we're about. We're about something that, obviously, we're about something that makes sense. Every one of us in this room work for a living, and we don't work for free. So we don't want to work for free. We have many times in home building, but we don't want to. But we won't make more than any kind of average profit on the development. You can't. You can't. If we could sell them for $700 and make $100,000 a unit, we would. But you just can't. The market drives what you get there. And right now we're so high in pricing from everything else that our profits have actually shrunk for the last 3 years.
Is it still going to be that steep? Is that whole project that's going to be on the slope?
It's on a plane, so it's actually only got about 6 feet of slope when we get to the end. So it starts out and goes down. These first of all, these pictures were done with 67 units. We haven't redone our renderings. But this line of buildings all steps down, and this doesn't show that. So this all steps down and follows the road. Bellwood then would go higher than the sidewalk on the road down here. And that's what we're talking about, cutting the knot off.
And the street will be wider?
The street will be wider on our side. So that's 100% that the street's wider on our side. Will the street be wider on both sides? We're still working with the city on that.
Like where we live, next to y'all's 5 townhomes?
Right.
That's going to stay that narrow, correct?
That would stay that narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our townhome, the ones we're doing now, that street widens about 8 inches on one side. Street, the minimum street's 20 feet, and so they all got to get to 20 feet that you build on. So new construction has to actually work on the city streets. And that's okay. I mean, it's part of it at times.
Have you sold the 5 there?
No, we just put them on the market about a month ago, and we've got some interest in the first 2, but we haven't even finished. We've been very slow on that project.
The lady in the green shirt.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I am going to get to everybody.
Okay, so I've been in Kyle Heights for like 15 years. I just love it. I want there to be more opportunity for more people to live here like Julie. However, these developments keep popping up and I've never heard anything about it. And what I feel like, probably a lot of people in Missouri feel like, that these developments keep showing up depending on who you know is city council. I have to
So I assume you're talking about Rusty?
Nope. Burger.
Bercher, no, we did not donate to Bercher.
I don't think that's true.
That's true. We didn't donate to Bercher.
All right, I'm.
We
I'll take
did
it back.
donate,
I'll take it back.
we did donate to Kim,
Okay.
or Kimberly. Did that early on. She asked us to, and we did. We didn't do that for this project, but we did donate to her and would have without this project. As far as politics, you do politic when you can in a development business, but as far as notification or building houses or doing things like this, we're not trying to get a council on our side. We're trying to bring them a project that works. And the way to do that, in my mind, to get a council on your side is bring a project that meets a master plan, that meets the right tax base. I can't tell you this, but the city does work taxes. So they love things in the right spots. So you couldn't put this in the middle of Top Heights, in the middle of residential. You can put it next to commercial. It does work anywhere in the country in those guidelines. It's density and then residential. It always steps down from commercial that way. Well, that's the way master plans are drawn. And the density supports a lot of the other. So, but as far as didn't do anything with Berkshire or with Rusty,
As
but
a community, how the high school's left out feels like people are greenlighting things for us all the time. And I'm sorry, I should check my notes beforehand. I got it mixed up.
that's okay.
This-
I've never even met him, but I do know him. I've been before him in planning and zoning,
we just don't have
but I don't
representatives.
even know him. I did vote for him, so.
And I don't know who else is on planning and you know, like, it's like so many little different spots, and we just, I shouldn't speak for everybody, but I think we feel left out.
What we want to do is come meet with y'all and listen and go over all this. We wanted to meet with you and have a discussion before we finish plans.
And I do appreciate that.
So that's our mindset here. Yes, sir.
A couple things. Remember when was there? You have a large and did you commission an environmental impact study?
Say it one more time.
Did you commission an environmental impact study? Do you have one?
No.
Okay. I think probably maybe some of the issues that might be a waste of time. Also, reading the study from State, and usually when they do a traffic study, they'll give grades for different intersections, and then they'll say like, oh, well, here is for this multiplier with common companies factor traffic to this, say report the study. Did they report grades for all of the intersections and what the grades were potentially changed to?
I don't know that they even did that, but
It's pretty standard.
when we got the first same report, it didn't even have I've gone back and forth with Sane to try to get a better report, and I think we got a better report this last time. As I read it, it answered my questions, but I don't know about the grades of the intersection.
I mean, that might be helpful to share with the community, like, hey, here's the grade.
His bottom line was it doesn't change anything, was the way I read it. So,
Yeah, I read some of the studies they did in the past, and they'll be like, oh, it's totally fine, and then you dig down and be like, oh, well, this went from the peak to F to grade, and they're like, this can't change it. Because it's just one grade drop down, or like, from the community point of view, like, that's a terrible score, and it went even more terrible score, so. And some of this honors, it's not your fault that how high residents feel like they left or right. The city in general.
and I agree. And I'm not here to,
You're working some kind of like legal misdirect page or like that. I think the other thing that I've seen in the past with like Kessler on CoDrive, but I mentioned that one of the things he did to kind of show that he wanted to be a member of the community is he went and got permission on every single person's house to put a sidewalk. He said, listen, I know I don't have the right to build a sidewalk all the way down Water Lane, but we will give you easement to, if I can get permission from every homeowner, I will in good faith build a sidewalk. This is what he did on CoDrive. Might be something to consider.
well, did he build it out of the city easement on their property, or did he
Yeah.
build it in that city easement?
Yeah, he actually put up, I remember he put up a street light and he tied it into their, because they're LEDs. And so,
Yeah.
but he had zoning. 59 is better than 67. What is it, 4.3 acres that you're looking to put on, so runs per acre, like 13 or 14, right? That's, I mean, that's pretty dense. That's not quite apartment dense, right? That's pretty dense in terms of like transitioning, right? We're going, it's, you know, the word like, not a transition, more like this is your wall. And I know you said, okay, I'm gonna make this finances viable. I'm an economist for a living, so I understand. Like, we need to make money. I've heard this in the past with developers where they're like, oh, we can't make it make sense unless we have this exact density. And then a year later, they drop the density again. Somehow they found a way to make it work too. So I would encourage you to really see if you can decrease density. I think that's probably the sticking point for most people.
And in that sticking point, is that density because of traffic? Is that's the reason?
It changes the character of the neighborhood
I
too.
don't know if that's the single main reason, but I think it's definitely a driver that people are considering. I mean, because again, you've got to look at the infrastructure in the surrounding area. The complaints that you're hearing consistently, lack of sidewalks and narrow streets, lack of lighting. And so when you talk about adding more traffic to that, you're actually reducing your walkability score, which is one of the things that you mentioned that this development might bring, and all the development in the shops. And hey, it's walking and walkability. It really isn't. It's dangerous as hell because you're going to have people walking along streets that don't have sidewalks at dusk, early morning, no lights. It can increase the amount of traffic. The other thing that you mentioned, I'm curious to know that with more exactness or specificity, you mentioned that some of the units are 2 bedrooms, some of the units are 3, with the majority of them being 2 bedrooms, right?
That's correct.
How many of the units out of 59 are going to be 2 bedrooms?
We don't have the interior plans developed for these units at all. So as a developer, we do everything we have to do, in my opinion, to get zoning. But we don't want to spend money until we get zoning, because if we don't get zoning, all this is scrapped.
No, I get it.
And all of our engineering is scrapped. So we have invested, what, $30-something thousand in it today that we will lose if we don't get zoning, and that's okay. But we don't want to invest $100 to lose.
The follow-on question around the number of bedrooms per unit. Your opening statement, you mentioned property values, right? And my rebuttal was comps. The majority of the houses around that development are 3-bedroom homes.
Yes.
A two-bedroom unit does nothing for the property values because there's no comp.
It
So
does.
you mentioned the property value as a selling point, and I'm curious, why do you think that's a selling point, given that there's no comparative value for the majority of the houses around?
So you can see right.
So, yeah, so the three,
Better than a single family.
Also, probably half of the units will be 3-bedroom, if not more, so.
right, your comps of every piece of it will come up. The townhomes, when an appraiser looks at it, you may be one, I don't know, but when the appraiser looks at it, he will look at townhome versus regular home, but he's also looking at pricing. So he's looking at bedrooms and baths. And we'll have plenty of bedrooms and baths that are 3s. We won't have any that are 4s. So if you're in a 4, he will still look at it, but he won't compare it directly with that comp. But he
I
will.
went through this a few years ago when I sold a 2-bedroom over on Jacobs, just down the street from that subdivision that went in, it was a brand new subdivision. But yes, that's the one. So I went through this before, and I could not get a comp on a 2-bedroom house that was of any value. I think the closest comp we got was at 2-3 miles away. And it was, again, it didn't do me any favors. So having that new development down the street did nothing for me. And so I'm really curious, I mean, I hear you can say, you know, to a certain extent, well, a $600,000 unit, a rising tide lifts all boats, I get it. But again, when you have an appraiser come in and do it, they will more often than not exclude it because you're checking boxes. Is this a like for like? Is this an apples to oranges or an oranges to oranges comparison? And so again, I really would like to have a better understanding of why you believe that a $600,000 2-bedroom townhouse is going to affect the comp for a 4-bedroom, single-family home.
What I can tell you, and let me, I'm going to answer you. I'm going to give you my opinion. So everything you're hearing from up here is my opinion, except
That's all
for
you're hearing from us.
engineering. But I do want to then go to everybody, give everybody a chance to speak, and then we'll come back to everybody that wants to speak more. And when we leave, I'll stay up the parking lot and talk to y'all as long as you want to. But I do want to get into every question if we can, just so we can hear. We want to hear the questions. But let me answer you. So what I believe is when you bring 59 people in here that invest $600,000 into this house, you've got 30-something $million. What do you have? I don't know what you.
A lot.
You got a lot of investment right there. That in itself, if it doesn't touch the comp of your house, in itself brings that neighborhood to a different level. Maybe not a level that you want, but it does bring the entire place to a different level. You don't have diesel trucks parked there. You don't have the other things there that you might have in a. So right now, a third of that land is already zoned for townhomes. It's zoned for townhomes. We could go in there and build 8 townhomes with masonite siding and do whatever we wanted to do there. And it would bring a different clientele and sell them probably for $300,000. It'd bring a different clientele to it. When you do something like this, you create a community in itself that does elevate the community around it. The places across from Bellwood on that side of the road might get a facelift. I don't know if they do or not, but they could. They're going to be looking at something very attractive, very appealing. Every time you do something to your house, all of a sudden the next room looks dingy. You got to paint it too because it looks worse. You're hoping, and we've seen it time and time again when we've done townhomes, that you improve the community, and you do.
And that's 59 plus more voters that might say, hey, I want sidewalks, I want this cleaned up, I want, and going to the city asking them to do more on y'all's side.
Agree. Let me come right here.
I have 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you explain to me what you're seeking in the zoning change from R4, R8, and R9? I don't know the difference. And also, are you going to build this in one stage, or are you going to build and sell some and then build some more? And what is your projected completion rate?
Good question. So, did y'all hear it? So the question is the difference in zoning from what it is now, which is R8 and R4 to R9. R9 zoning in the city basically means we give them a development plan and they accept that plan. So the setbacks on it, everything we do on that plan in R9 is accepted. R8 is townhome zoning that would be to their regs that are established. So R9, I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with South Bend. We did it in Vestated. It's an R9 subdivision of $1 million homes. But it's done in R9 because we wanted them real close. So if we'd have done it in R2, they'd have had to have 30-foot setbacks, and so we were, again, doing density there. But doing it at a much different level than this. So that's the difference. I don't know if you got it, but it's once they accept that plan in R9, that's all you can do. Can't do anything different. Can't change it any. Then timely, yes, we would build it all together. It would all develop together. We would start at the entrance and work down it on both sides. So it's such a community. It kind of all has to go together. You couldn't do it really in phases and actually get anybody interested in buying the first unit when you have 30 more to build behind it. So you do it all together. What that would take would be, in our mind, 2 years. So from the time we actually break ground to the time we finish.
Is the entrance off of Bellwood or Autumn? Where is the entrance?
The entrance is off of Autumn, and I mean the entrance, it's hard to see, but there's an entrance here, an exit here. So it's a one-way street through the through the commission road.
We're
This is Autumn and this is Bellwood.
And so is the entrance across from Canterbury? Like,
Entrance would be across from Canterbury.
at our alley? Like, we have alleys on both sides.
It's actually y'all's alley, the alley on this, your alley almost hits the middle. It almost hits
It's
this.
almost right in the middle of Canterbury, I think. See these red lines?
Okay.
Here's Canterbury. I think it's about centered with this driveway in Canterbury. It's almost in the
Yes,
center of it.
so the rear driveways of Canterbury are offset from these entrances and exits.
Right at your house.
Yeah.
Robert?
I've got a few questions, so I'm just gonna throw them all at you.
Yeah.
All right. So are you still buying 31, 32, and 3130, or are you cutting that off from the project altogether?
The very bottom lot,
Yeah, two
I don't
lots
know
at
the
the
numbers.
Yeah, the two thin lots at the end.
Okay, we're buying one of the thin lots at the end. The last thin lot is messed up, not messed up, sorry. But it's in an estate that's unviable right now.
I understand.
So it could be viable in a couple of years, but right now it's not.
So
Say
the
downhill, down.
The very bottom lot.
So
the very
that
last-
explains the footprint of this development, even though that was originally included in.
That's right. We
Gotcha.
thought we could, but we couldn't.
The next question I have is how tall are these buildings you expect?
They're 2-story. The gables would get on up to 27 feet, maybe.
Comparable to those that you just completed.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So these would be a little bit taller than those, but not much. You would look at them and say they're about the same height. Yes.
And then one last question I have is about the landscaping and ground preparation. Are you going to be using the same landscaper that you've used previously, like you used at 5 Oaks Lane?
That's not,
5 Oaks Lane.
That's Kessler, I
Where's
think.
5 Oaks?
Is that Kessler?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do 5
Centennial.
Oaks.
Then forget that. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Louder.
Along that line, just saying, these projects happen on the other side of the one that's project based. I'll see through it, this kind of thing going on in there.
So I'll give you my opinion of that, and I'll tell you why I think it is. Cahaba Heights was not a, I don't want to offend anybody in the room when I talk about Cahaba Heights. I like Cahaba Heights. My son lived here, bought a house here, made money in Cahaba Heights, selling his house after he fixed it up. It's a cool community. It's the hottest community in Vestavia right now, in my opinion. But Cahaba Heights was not a planned city when it was started in the 20s, or some of y'all may know. But, so, they didn't exactly have the commercial and the residential. As like Highway 31 in Vestavia, the city center was put there and residential started. And there's hardly any room there. The room that was there behind the city center now is a plantation retirement home. So it was density put behind it. As I understand it, there was a retirement home that wanted to be on this property, and could be someday, I don't know. But those are good and bad, but the reason you want that type project, retirement home close to commercial, is ambulance traffic. You get a decent amount of ambulance traffic in those projects. But we're doing a townhome project right now in Vestavia, on Blue Ridge, on that side of town. So we're close to the interstate. So it's not, but it does have residential around it. But it buffers the residential from the interstate to the residential. So it's still fitting in that same mindset of commercial or interstate, high density, low density. The high density works because people stay indoors more, they don't have yards. It's not a playground in the backyard. So that's part of the reason it works better up against commercial. But that's the only way I can answer that question is to how that works. You do have, as you go down 31, You've got gas stations in commercial, they're close to 65 and go up the hill and hit a tremendous amount of apartments. You've got apartments going on up 31 on both sides of the road, but there's right as you start up the hill, there's apartments on your right, and then there's another set of apartments, and then there was the old middle school. So there are a good bit of density stuff in Old Vestavia, or 31 side of Vestavia. You go to Liberty Park, they're building a tremendous amount of density stuff in the break. Tremendous amount, a lot of apartments.
They got the land for that.
And, say it again?
They got the land for that.
Yeah, they got, but it's in the city. So they're putting all that stuff in next to a whole bunch of commercial, and then if you go around the backside of it, it's all residential housing right there. So you look at it as they got the land for it, but the density's there and the residential's right behind it. It's just the way it's just the way you design them today. Yes, sir.
I know it's not as profitable.
Say one time.
It's not as profitable as a developer to do a tear down and a deal. But 35243, you go in that group, people line up to buy and tear down and deal. Why would your lots here not be feasible to do that? That helps people continue, and it raises property values even more.
Tell me one more time. Tear down and build a new
Tear down
house?
and build a new house.
Yeah. So when you're doing that, you're valuing that house as a lot.
It's valuing people around it too.
So in Mountain Brook, if they're buying a house for, $700,000, that's what the lot cost is for that lot. And then you put $1 million house on it. So if we did that here, we would have lot cost, if we did, let's say 8 houses down through there, we'd have lot cost at $600,000-$700,000 per lot.
You know the retention pond land houses?
You,
Widen the road land houses?
you wouldn't be doing much very pretty infrastructure, but you would have to retain some water. They'd make it, anything they call a subdivision, in 8 houses the city would call a subdivision, you'd have to retain water.
So it's not financially feasible to tear down and build a bigger house?
It's not financially feasible even to leave those 2 houses and keep going down. You've also got to build something you can sell. So we're also looking at can you sell it when you're done? And a project like this, we believe in. We believe in strongly. And I know there's a lot of people that say you can't sell them for that. We have to sell them for that, but we build them for that. But we believe in the project. We wouldn't build $1 million house right there on Bellwood facing the commercial. We just couldn't do it. We couldn't sell it. And you can't build 3,000 square feet in a economical package anymore. They're all $1 million, and especially if they're on a $300,000 lot, it'd be more than that. So you just can't make the numbers work. And when you get done with that $1 million house, if you sold it for what you priced it for, there's not $100,000 in it for us. There's 60 or 70, which is that's what we work for.
I do want to echo that. I know you were talking about concern of townhomes and I guess the property value, and I'm sure you might already address that. But I mean, Cobb Heights, for the concentration of homes that we do have a large number of apartments and townhomes. I mean, Vestavia, you're referring to apartments, Montreat, and areas like that. But, Vestavia as a whole, that side of it, the highway is a lot more spread out, from community. Here, such a large set of property that contains townhomes, apartments. I mean, so you really think property value will not be affected, per se, by building these townhomes?
I think as far as a master plan goes, in a community like we're building, with the money we're investing, with the money that will be invested by buyers, this will definitely improve the community. That's a strong opinion. So, but it's an opinion enough for us to take on the project. I do believe way more apartments in Old Vestavia than in Cobb Heights. And apartments they're good for the city. They pay $20 million of property tax, but they're also a drain on the city because they're hard to keep up. They're hard to take a 40-year-old apartment and keep it up. I don't know how hard I hit on the homeowners association of this, but the homeowners association here handles all the landscaping, all the exterior painting, all the exterior roofing, you'll never see these being one yellow unit, one green unit, one blue unit with different color roofs. They'll all be maintained, and every person that lives there will contribute to that homeowner association and be part of it and make it work. Let me finish this up. I'll get to you. Anybody else?
Will a no rental be part of the covenants with the homeowners association, or can somebody buy them to turn them around?
Yeah, we can't legally say no rental on a house they own. So we legally, that's not part of the covenant.
Is that accurate?
I think so.
Did you write it into an HOA covenant?
We did. Canterbury did.
I'm not sure legally that's,
Good luck.
I don't think if you own your house and own your lot that you can legally be told that you can't rent it. Now, short-term rentals are different things. You
I'm not
can't.
talking from the city, I'm talking from the covenants of the homeowners.
Right, I'm
association.
just thinking I think it's not a city legally, it's a law. I think, but I can be wrong on that, but that's what I've always heard. But, we're not building the rent. If we're selling them. So what that home, I would say there would be the same percentage of rental in that community when we're done as there would be in the communities around it. So somebody leaves and moves and rents their house for a few years, possibly. I don't know. Yes, ma'am.
I got 24 years real estate law experience, but I can't write that into HOA covenants.
Okay.
It's not short-term or not even long-term or anything.
Can't rent your property. Okay.
Would you be willing to do that?
I don't know. Maybe.
So that
I-
they say only X amount of percent rent or not.
Say that one more time.
There's a little cap rate to where maybe the community would say only 10% is allowed to be rental. So if however many people buy and then there's already these rental properties, then the next people want to buy specifically for the property, they would be able to, as far as the building cap. You could, God forbid you were getting financed.
We can tell people they can't rent. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying, they can't forbid you from getting financing too. If a lender decides that there's a certain number of rental properties in an HOA that they allow, otherwise their loan is unviable, they can keep you from getting a mortgage if there are too many rental properties in a certain unit, HOA, apartment, condo, townhouse, all that.
That's nice to know.
Compromise would be a tax, not no we don't rent or we rent. The compromise would be a cap rate in the HOA that development discussed.
We may be interested in that. What I would tell you is, I don't believe an investor buys a $600,000 two-bedroom unit to rent. I just don't think that's a norm.
And they still would have to follow all these HOA rules.
That's right, and pay HOA dues and do that whole thing.
And the rent
So,
would not be cheap.
Yeah, it would also be an expensive rent. That's a very good point. It would be a rent that would be the people beside them would be paying less in house payment than the renter would be paying in rent. So when you get to that kind of money, in my mind, it doesn't actually wash out.
Let's just add that one. You got any more questions?
Any more questions?
I do.
I got a couple more. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I don't know if it's a question, just a statement, but all of us in Canterbury Place, our main concern is our alleyways.
Yeah.
Because all these other roads, they're gonna be cutting through our alleyways. So we're already trying to think of what we can do to stop that. Like
To
put
stop-
up cameras, put up gates, like, because it's already a cut through.
Your
You
alleyway?
see people that
Yeah.
driving through it?
But yeah,
Oh,
they use
yeah,
our
that-
alleys to cut through to Crosshaven.
Yeah,
Bottom lane.
I don't know the answer there, but I do
I know.
know if that's a common event. I mean, those are driveways. They're not,
No, it's, well, I mean.
well, I call it a private drive, but
Yeah,
it
but
may be called an
people don't-
alley. If it's a city drive, they can do it, but if it's a private drive or
Gated.
y'all's driveway, yeah, you could, sure.
All right.
I mean, I do think that shouldn't be happening. But you have to even go up, turn between the buildings and get out in your road, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, especially if like, the,
It's gotta be people that live here though. It wouldn't be just ways taking them up through there.
backs up from here, you know, all the way up the hill. The traffic backs up from this traffic light all the way up the hill. People see that, they turn.
And then Christmas time.
Well, I don't know how to answer
I
that,
know.
except that needs,
Look,
I would think that ought to
Label
stop.
that a private road, that they just pass by, are they labeled like private road?
Maybe no outlet signs, but I assume it's who somebody that knows it is an outlet. I don't know. I had another one over here. Yes, sir.
What is the square footage like on these units?
Square footage will be roughly 2,000 feet. Maybe, now have a garage under it, so that garage is not counted in that footage. So, but the main level will have a garage,
It's
and
like a
bedrooms will be up.
garage level with no living space.
There'll be some living space as well. So be a garage with a den kitchen behind it, and then master bedroom and other bedrooms up.
They're deep, they're very deep houses.
Not tremendously deep, but 50 by 22 roughly.
Another question, the Blind Hill going up out of
Bellwood.
Because I just drove by there. I don't go that, I live in Cabo Heights, but I don't go that way often because I don't like that, driving up that road.
Sure.
Because I can't hardly see over the hood of my truck. Is that any, you talked about knocking down that hill somehow. Is that any barrier to your success here, or is that something you move forward with either way? Whether you can get the city on board with that or not.
To build a project, we will want to fix that hill. So if it takes all of our money, we still gotta have a partnership with the city to create easements. We gotta create easements on the other side. So it's still gotta be something that would address the other side of the road to fix the hill. So it's
You're gonna ask the
complicated,
city
but
to
yes,
buy-
it's something we definitely would want to do. We wouldn't want to do this investment and leave the road at that point. Our hope is sidewalk and curb, getting all that in and get the city to invest in that. Part of that is when you build construction, and again, I'm not trying to get into the money side of it, but sales tax alone on the construction of this project will be tremendous for the city. They'll get a big boom in any project. They get a big boom in sales tax when all that lumber and all those windows, all that carpet, everything comes to that site. The city gets sales tax on every penny. So there's a big boom there. I'm not saying that to say they use it for that road, but they would have enough to do that road and then plenty.
How wide is that road currently?
18 feet.
Currently, it'd be 20 away. No chance.
It's,
Bellwood or
Bellwood?
I'm thinking,
I mean, my office is on the corner, it can't be more than 14 people.
well, cars pass on 16.
Cars have to pull off the side.
I agree it's tight, but, and I should have said I don't know, but I'm thinking, I know that Bellwood, where we go around ours, is 18. Because we've got to add a foot to our side,
You have to add a foot of road.
to our side of the 5 townhomes we're building right now.
Oh, okay, but at this situation on Bellwood, how much can you add to your side?
We would only be adding to our side, well,
I mean, I'm looking.
I can't tell you if that road's center of the easement or not. But typically, they're looking for the center of the road to be somewhere around the center of the easement. A lot of these Cabo Heights roads are not. But typically, we would be adding half of the distance we need to make the full width of the road.
You're meaning adding actual paving, not just property.
Paving, yes.
Would you have to close the road and do so for how long?
If you cut that,
Why don't you just go for the R4 to be R8? Why do you need R9? What's the difference?
well, it's a planned community. So a planned community gives you, we still have to do all of our street turns have to work for a fire truck, but they don't have to work for complete regulation. So we're still 24-foot wide streets, curb and gutter on them. Everything looks brand new, but it doesn't have to, all of our setbacks don't have to be the same. That community is the zoning that it is in R9.
The
And
difference
so,
between R8 and R9 is there are rules to R8. There are not rules to R9.
right. That is correct.
That's correct.
There are rules to R9, but they're gone over today, not when we build. So R8, we can start tomorrow. We can go buy permits for townhomes tomorrow, just show them a plan and buy a permit, and we have to meet their rules. With this, we've got to have a complete development, every piece of engineering, everything completely done before we can get this zoning. And then they have to agree to it. So you go through city planning constantly, and they're telling you, the fire chief's telling you you can't do this, the police chief's telling you you can't do this, and you tweak your plan to meet their codes. But for me, closing that part of that road, it would not be detrimental. There are still plenty of outlets, but it would be at least a minute there. It's availability and money on a project. The school system also wants to receive that, the money that the project makes.
Is there any entertainment district or anything else that's gonna be attached to this, any other restaurants or anything else that's gonna be planned in that whole area? I mean, that's what I originally thought the plans were. I thought they were building more restaurants in kind of walkable area down that road. I didn't know that this is kind of in the works until.
No, it's all residential.
The footprint of
Yeah, one here and I'll come back to you.
the footprint.
Is there a difference in zoning from R8 to R9 in permeable space? I know the development, you guys, the 5 you're doing, you have to use all permeable concrete pretty much everywhere.
You get out of that with holding ponds. So you do have to collect your water, but you don't have to, you can still have rooftops as long as you're collecting the water on those rooftops.
Do you have questions?
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to talk a little bit more about the detention pond.
Yeah.
And just kind of understand that a little bit better. Do you have like the stormwater report that like, is that allowed to be shared with the community?
The stormwater plan?
Yeah, whatever it's called, whatever it's called that, I'm just saying this from the point of, honestly, that's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
I don't live near the community, I live on the hill, but, so it's not for me, but I've lived here for 22 years and I've seen Meadowlawn just struggle and promises made. I saw 4 houses moved and it was supposed to be better and it's still not better. I've helped a friend move stuff out of her house that flooded.
Well, moving those houses though wasn't actually to stop the flooding, it was to create. Mellon Park is supposed to flood, that's why they moved it.
No, I'm aware of that, I see that's why there's
Well,
like swales and
right,
everything.
okay, I
like
thought
that.
you were saying that they moved the houses to help with flooding.
Right, and the problem is there's still flooding. I
Sure.
just wanted to kind of understand if you could just, like talk about the detention pond a little bit more, like what's the capacity of the pond? What's the rain event that it's designed for? And I know you had mentioned we've had some really just crazy rain events. And I'm curious how the codes have updated to these new rain events that we seem to be having. And this is like, I know nothing about it, but I know enough to visually know what I've seen over the years, and it's super concerning because I've helped friends down there, and it's not getting any better. And so I just know if there's something going in above it, and I understand you have the detention pond. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Let me give you a little bit of practical conversation. This building and this area, underground detention, solved the issues behind it. If you look at what the new ballpark did, and I actually played on the old ballpark, so that's how old I am, and I coached a bunch of kids on the old ballpark. That ballpark, when they redid it, that mud hill that was behind all those shops that used to happen every time it rained, that's gone. And it's gone because of water management. ADM and federal, but this won't be federal, but you end up, Vestage's adopted all of the updated land management, water management techniques. And we've got to abide by them, and we do it. You don't just flood here, you flood at the bowling alley, you flood a lot of different places in this city that they don't want any more water, period. And so, but their plan is that you collect all your water. Used to be 80%, now it's all. You collect it all. What we wanted to collect was all and then some. So we wanted a cushion to collect more. And achieve, we know the problems there, have seen them. Daniel lived on a road that his whole road flooded every time it rained. Water went over the road. What was the name of the road?
Meadowlawn? No, sorry, Kyle Lane.
Kyle Lane, yes. Sorry.
There was a
He
retaining
lived
wall that
there.
was like falling into that creek and.
They fixed it
I think
since.
they fixed it
dug
after
it
I
up.
moved out. Yeah.
But we're sensitive to water, and the last thing we want to do is build a business in a place that we have issues. Now, I'm not telling you construction's neat and clean and proper. It won't be. We'll have some rain events that will mess up.
You have to put the detention pond in first.
Yeah, the detention pond will be in first. And the detention pond will become some sort.
But the risk is if we have a huge event and you clear
It-
the land and no detention pond.
No, it won't go over the detention pond. It would, oh yeah, well, yes. If you had a rain event before that kind of rain event before the detention, but you do all that, you know it's coming. So if you're doing a development, you're building a retention pond, not that retention pond, but 2 days before, if you're moving dirt and clearing land, you're building something to retain water on that site because your silk fences won't do it when you have that kind of event. So you're always trying to fix that.
So do you know, like, what's the gallon capacity for that pond?
I can't tell you. The report, I think, could tell you. What I can tell you is we wanted every piece of it, and city engineers have already gone through it and determined we do have what we say we have, but we wanted more. So we wanted to not just be the same, but be better. But also you're detaining all of it. So you're slowing it all down from going into it. So you're not helping 100%, but whatever that land gets rid of today, you're collecting that still and detaining it.
Whatever
Rooftops
that
was a
land
problem.
would, if it was completely paved over, what
That's
that
right.
land would sheet off.
That's right.
Not what the land actually
Right.
absorbs now.
But the land that's there now is losing some water. The houses and the land on it, there's ditches through it that it is losing some water. That water is detained as well. So there's a little bit of water getting into that creek from that 5 acres in a flood event, and especially in a flood event. When you get 3 inches of rain in 45 minutes, 5 acres of land, I don't care how much kudzu's on it, is gonna move water. So all of that is detained. So my point is, we're helping it 10% better as a whole, but we're helping it the whole time by detaining water.
Taylor, that's actually a retention basin or pond. It's not underground retention.
That's right. It is a pond on the
There
back
is,
of
there
the.
is an option for underground retention as well, correct?
Yeah, I mean, not on this project, but, well, we've got underground detention across the street.
Yeah.
This pond, if you're looking at it almost from where we're sitting on that angle, the pond is here. And that's where the water leaves the property now. So that is the slope of this property today.
What's the long-term maintenance like? Something like that?
It depends on how you keep it, but today, it's gotten more and more. I mean, it's inspected yearly. So any silt in it, they will still let you grow cattails in them because they're an asset to the pond. So you can let it grow up. We've tended to keep ponds in communities. We'll actually grass ponds and cut it so that you can throw a frisbee in it when it's not raining. But at times the water's 3 feet deep in it.
You have some in South Bend, right?
Yes, sir. Got 3 in South Bend.
So that put in back behind the moving company, kind of that direction?
Yeah. It hits the creek down there. It hits a creek that actually hits.
Behind
The same creek.
Yeah.
So do you know, I mean, you said they're inspected yearly, I guess there's costs. Who inspected by?
The city, and you have to pay. The city hired an engineer to work water when they adopted this new water plan, and so that engineer is out there inspecting and doing them
So
yearly.
the city inspects it, so there's no cost involved?
No, it's cost. You pay for it. You pay for the annual inspection and you pay for anything they find that's a deficiency. Yes, sir.
So you have seen the Canterbury neighborhood, correct?
Yes, sir.
Like 30, maybe plus houses?
Yes, sir.
What, in size, like, wise is it gonna be compared to your new development? How, in regards of,
Well,
They're the same acreage.
we're basically the same, but we're roughly double what they are, and that's not exact. Probably in bedrooms we're less, or equal, not less, equal. Don't quote me on that one. But
You don't gonna.
but
but you wanna put 59 units in that confined space?
that's right. Yeah, we're creating a community that works there. Yes, ma'am.
Property backs up to the back of the property.
Yes, ma'am.
We're on Battleford Drive,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a creek partially on my property that runs, the creek that angles down.
Yeah.
What will be done with that gully there? Will that be, will you pipe it and cover it? What will happen there?
If it's on your property, we would figure out what we can do with it, but we would fix it if there's a fix for it. If it's something that's yours that you want, we wouldn't do anything to it. We will be taking quite a bit of water out of it. In other words, the water that hits it from anything on our side will now be going through our detention pond. So it will be piped and taken to our detention pond. So we won't be putting water in that creek anymore that we're putting in it now, or that ditch.
Well, are you gonna, like it's an open creek now, will it be still an open creek or will it be covered?
If it's on our side, it would be definitely covered. If it's on your side and you wanted it covered, we would cover it. But we would be covering it, in my opinion, without piping it. So, but because we would be taking all the water away from it. It would only be your yard water going down there and then turning and running down.
Well,
So you
it's
just
got
fill
that
them back,
pipe that's
basically.
right at the corner of my property. There's a pipe there that, because when they were building the.
So there's a pipe coming from Canterbury,
Yeah, because they tied us into the.
Sewer.
the sewer.
Sewer.
Yeah, the sewer's all the way down that side.
Yeah.
Well, I say all the way. It comes up about 3/4 of the way, then it turns and runs through. It runs around the corner house that's on this property. So the sewer ends up crossing almost in the middle of Canterbury.
Do you know still a sinkhole in the, on Autumn Lane, where the road dips in? Isn't that a sinkhole?
I don't know. You're not talking about where we put in sewers, are you?
No, it's,
Okay.
it's Autumn Lane, there's a dip in the road.
In between the two alleys.
Right where you're talking about putting your entrance is.
I ought to know where you're talking about, but that is where the sewer is. That manhole for the sewer is almost in the middle of our two entrances. So if there's a dip there, it's probably an old dip from where that sewer was cutting the road and compacted back and has moved some.
The city's tried to fix it and did not.
And it's not fixable.
Okay. We got 3 minutes. I want to hit anybody that I hadn't talked to if I can. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, yeah, I'm curious, with respect to the traffic, many of us that have lived in this area for a long time have watched the traffic increase and increase, and I'm wondering what conversations, if any, y'all have had with neighboring municipalities about traffic impacts.
About traffic impacts. Ask me
Well, not only
neighboring.
in Cahaba Heights, but also for Mountain Brook. I mean,
Oh, from this project? So, I know this is not popular in this room, but 60 2- and 3-bedroom units just do not create tremendous traffic. So from a Mountain Brook's perspective, they would never know it hit. I know that you just go in so many different directions, and you're a mile and a half from 459. So it just doesn't accumulate traffic like you hear 60 and you think somebody said 150 cars. It just doesn't do that. Does it create more traffic? Now cut throughs do create traffic. Crosshaven creates tons of traffic. But that road, as it disperses, that development, just like the 30 across the street, when they disperse, they're, if you're not on through traffic, Rocky Ridge Road backs up constantly all day long, or not all day long, during rush hour. And it's worse because Waze takes people through it and puts them back on the interstate down there. But those you can't compare to. 60 units just doesn't create the kind of traffic that would affect Mountain Brook or Birmingham or Vestavia.
So I'm wondering what traffic studies, if any, have been done in association with this project?
We've done a traffic study with Sane Engineering, who, in our mind, is the best in the business. And that traffic study will be, I mean, the city will have it, it'll be something that's public knowledge. Or public's able to get that. I'm pretty sure. Can't they, Robert?
Yeah, it's,
You
yeah,
can get a traffic
I've
study.
posted it, so it's in there. I mean, it's the
Okay.
same thing you got
Yeah.
in front of planning and zoning, so.
So, I hope I answered. Anybody else quick? Hey, thank y'all for coming. Thank you for listening. I know I didn't know.